12 placements a year. That was Richard Pardick's ceiling as an independent recruiter, until he built an AI sourcing engine that took him to 47. Same person, same network, nearly 4 times the output. This is exactly how he did it, and the moment it almost didn't work. Act 1. The Trap. 30 days earlier, Richard's home office had been electric. 3 senior-level placements closed, a record commission check on the way. Now the room was silent except for the hollow click of a refresh button. While he'd been buried in final interviews and contract negotiations, his pipeline had evaporated. 0 active leads, a calendar with no screening calls. He was starting his business from zero, again. This is the structural trap of the solo recruiter. To make money, you have to close. But to close, you have to source, and every hour spent closing is an hour stolen from finding the next candidate. Richard was a skilled closer with deep expertise in technology roles. He was also physically capped by the linear nature of his own time. His typical Tuesday began with what he called the Belysian crawl. 6 to 7 hours of complex search strings, hundreds of profiles reviewed manually, trying to infer technical competence from 3-paragraph summaries. Then the outreach messages, the spreadsheet tracking, the scheduling ping-pong. By the time a candidate was actually on the phone, the monotony had blunted his edge. He felt like a hunter starving because he spent all his time building the trap instead of checking it. He considered joining a large search firm just to get a sourcing team, but surrendering most of his commission to corporate overhead was a non-starter. He wanted independence. He was starting to realize that independent had become a synonym for unscalable. Then came the quarter that nearly broke him. Act 2. The breaking point. 2 of his largest clients simultaneously opened 8 new senior engineering roles. Richard looked at the job descriptions and felt nausea instead of excitement. With his manual process, he could work 2 of those roles at his quality standard. Taking all 8 meant his screening would collapse, and he'd likely lose both accounts to poor candidate quality. He was watching a massive revenue opportunity slip away because he could not replicate his own research capacity. Hiring a junior sourcer would shrink his margins and add a management burden. Staying as he was meant being forever limited by the speed of his own search. That's when the reframe hit him. He had to stop being the search engine and start being the architect of one. Act 3. The Build. Richard spent a month building what he called the sourcing engine, an integrated AI system designed to automate the bottom 80% of the recruiting funnel. Layer 1. Identification. Custom models ingested a job description, then scanned professional networks and technical platforms for non-obvious matches. Unlike keyword search, the AI understood career trajectory, flagging people whose skills were growing into a role even when their job title hadn't caught up yet. Layer 2. Vetting. Automated resume screening and fit scoring analyzed each candidate's depth against the client's technical requirements, handing Richard a score and a 3-sentence brief on why this person was worth his time. Layer 3. Outreach. And here's where it almost fell apart. His first automated sequences were mechanical, and his response rates dropped below his manual numbers. The machine sounded like a machine. The fix? He primed the system with his own voice, feeding it years of his most successful outreach emails until every message read as human, personal, credible. Once that clicked, his automated response rates exceeded his manual ones, because the system followed up at the precise moments candidates were most receptive. But the real test came from his hardest client. Act 4. The Proof. A fintech company needed a head of infrastructure, notoriously difficult role. Their internal team of 5 had worked it for 3 months, 0 qualified submissions. Richard fed the requirements into his engine on a Tuesday night. By Wednesday morning, it had found a passive candidate, a principal engineer at a legacy financial institution who hadn't touched their professional profile in 3 years, but had been contributing heavily to specific open-source security projects. The AI connected the dots between those contributions and the client's infrastructure needs. No keyword search would have surfaced it. Richard reviewed the brief, approved the personalized outreach, and had the candidate on a screening call by Thursday. Placed 3 weeks later, his highest fee of the year, the client asked the question that changed how Richard saw himself. How did a solo recruiter find someone our entire internal team missed? His value was no longer his network. It was his ability to see the talent market more clearly and more deeply than anyone else in the room. He'd moved from vendor to strategic intelligence partner. Act 5. The new reality. Within 1 year, 12 placements became 47. His Tuesdays transformed. Instead of a 7-hour Boolean crawl, the day starts with a 30-minute review of the overnight lead brief. Top candidates identified and engaged across every active role while he slept. Mornings are deep dive screening calls. Afternoons are strategic consulting, helping clients refine hiring criteria with real-time market data his engine produces. He now manages 40 active roles with the precision he once applied to 4. He handles high-volume contracts that previously required a full agency. His income is decoupled from his hours. The feast or famine cycle is gone, replaced by a diversified portfolio of active searches and predictable revenue. Richard isn't a recruiter in the manual sense anymore. He's a systems operator who happens to work in executive search. Here's what Richard's transformation actually teaches. 3 things. 1. Knowing people is a commodity. Finding the right people with clinical precision at scale is a premium service, and it commands a premium fee. 2. Your value lives in the final 10%. The negotiation, the cultural read, the close. The first 90% is a technical problem, and technical problems have technical solutions. 3. If you were handed 10 perfect candidates for every open role tomorrow, could you close them? If no, you have a process problem more searching won't solve. If yes, you're one sourcing engine away from multiplying your output. Tell us in the comments, what's the single most time-consuming part of your candidate search? And what would your revenue look like if that work happened while you were asleep? Subscribe, because in the next video, we break down the exact sourcing frameworks and fit scoring protocols behind engines like Richard's.